and good morning. Siraj Saab, I must congratulate you for an excellent subject, excellent topic, and the points that you raised are extremely thought-provoking for all of us. And I hope that all of us remember, and Naeem Saab is here, can carry that message back to the power corridors, that all of those points that you have made are extremely critical for our leadership in Islamabad and in the corporate world. It's unfortunate that some of the points that you have raised are forgotten not only in the bureaucracy, but even on the corporate sector. The point of the conflict of interest, unfortunately, is something that is losing its impact in all areas. And I hope all of us can remember that. Again, thank you. The points that you have raised after that, technology seems like a very small item and a small subject. But nevertheless, I am here to talk about it a little bit. Even though Professor Haider Saab was mentioning how he hates PowerPoint and he discourages his students to not use it, but unfortunately, no technology presentation can be complete without using Microsoft. So I apologize, but I'll be using parts of it. But I would like, if we can make this session more interactive, because I would be very interested in knowing what other people in the room think about the technology and its impact, especially on their particular industry. Mario Andretti once said that if everything seems under control, that means we're not going fast enough. That is certainly true for technology. It's all about speed and connectivity. You realize in the year 2020, that's only 2 years from now, there will be 50 billion devices that will actually be connected. And over 5 billion internet users will be in the world. That's more than 2/3 of the world population actually connected. 90% of the cars, new cars, it's estimated, will be using internet one way or the other. 1 billion internet users will actually be using one form or the other of the voice-activated assistants, like Siri or Alexa or Cortana or any of those technologies. So imagine for every one internet user, there'll be 10 connected devices. That's how interconnected the world is going to be. And what does all of that mean for the businesses? It is estimated that $19 trillion of profit, not revenue, of profit will be actually generated by technology-related companies. Staggering number. I don't even know how many zeros are in trillion. And one area or one business which is still in infancy today, which is the drone technology, is estimated to be $100 billion worth of industry in just 2 years. And this industry, besides all the other usage on the defined side and others, the key usage of this industry will be on the delivery side. And currently, the largest delivery company, UPS, you would think that they are the ones who will be actually using the drone technology, but in reality, that's not the name that comes to mind, which is targeting to use this technology. Who is that company? The first name, Amazon. They are the ones who will probably be the largest user of drone technology for actually delivering the product to the homes of the consumers. Amazon, only 20 years ago, decided to challenge $25 trillion retail industry. And in just a matter of 20 years, they've grown to be the largest retailer in the world without having any stores. Walmart, which is the largest retailer, is today valued at $250 billion. You know what is the worth of Amazon? 3 Walmarts, $750 billion. They are the ones who are targeting to be the biggest users. Another fascinating story is Airbnb. If you really think of it, the 3 guys who started this not more than 10 years ago in San Francisco, they literally started this company from an air mattress. Their first customers were actually rented their place on a single air mattress. From there, they decided to challenge $500 billion hotel industry, and today Airbnb is worth $40 billion. And the largest hotel chain in the world, Intercontinental Group, is worth $20 billion. But not owning a single hotel, they still are valued twice as much as Intercontinental. The value of technology. Netflix has transformed the video industry. When Netflix started, video industry was worth about $100 billion. Today, Netflix alone is worth $150 billion. And Uber, we all know, Uber, Careem here locally, Lyft, these companies went and challenged the local taxi industry, who thought they were untouchables. Uber again today is worth $40 billion. All of these companies, what is common about them? They use technology to introduce services that are better, simpler, and more friendly to the consumers. So is anyone immune from this? No. Every industry, whatever you work in, will be impacted by technology. Disruption is not new. The difference is that the pace of the disruption, the pace of change, is nowadays it is almost at a warp speed. Those of you who are Star Trek lovers would know this. Just to give you 2 examples, why this space is happening is this. In my view, and I would be very interested in knowing what other people in the room think. I think there are 3 major reasons for why the pace has picked up at such a rapid pace nowadays. One is the processing power. You know, every 18 months, the processing power actually doubles. And nowadays it may even be faster, but it used to be every 18 months processing power used to double. And just to give things in perspective, each one of us is carrying a device in our pockets whose processing power is more than the computers that landed Apollo 11 on the moon. Can you even think about the processing power that we carry in our pockets? And the same device has more storage capacity, actually 1,000 times more storage capacity than the same computers. Interestingly, something that I think about, it's more of a psychologist and for philosophers to think about, that generation used that kind of limited processing power and storage power to land man on the moon. And we use this tremendous processing power for what? WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube. I think something for us to think about. With so much processing power, so much capability, where are our energies going? Anyone see anything common in these technologies? Sorry? They're all going to be obsolete. They're all these technologies that actually started within our own lifetime. No one even remembers the cassettes or spools or those type of storage or music devices anymore. CDs were the hot items in the 80s and 90s. Well, with the new cloud computing and cloud storage and gesture devices and mind control devices and voice activated controls, all of these, DVD, USB, remote controls, everything will be obsolete. So we are seeing that within our own lifetime, technologies are getting created, they are born, and they are dying. So we have to keep up with it. I'm sure, again, Sharasa mentioned that we need to talk about or focus on our grandchildren. Our grandchildren will not know any of these technologies. They won't even know what it is. My own granddaughter is already using gestures just to try to change channels or do things on the TV. If you try to tell her about remote control, she doesn't even know what to do with it. She thinks it's just it's a noise toy, it's a rattler or something. This is how at what speed the technology is moving, and we have to move with it. In terms of new technologies that are coming up and that are going to disrupt all the industries, and again, I'm not talking about 50 years from now, I'm talking next 10 years. The artificial intelligence, which is actually using or focusing on analyzing the tremendous amount of data that we have in the world right now, the predictive technology is going to change how all the equipments are going to be operated. Even the cars, when you sit in the car will actually tell you which route you should take. What's the shortest routes that you should take to your office or to work or pleasure or whatever you're doing. Shopping patterns are different. You already see bits and pieces of that, and the Google, as soon as you start browsing, it starts sending you messages of the things that it anticipates that you want to see. Okay. But this will change. Driverless cars. It's just a matter of maybe 5 to 7 years. It's expected that by the year 2025, there'll be at least 10% of the cars in the US will be driverless. This has tremendous implication on all the industries. One of the key industries, which is a huge industry, insurance industry, will have to change dramatically. Because 90% of the accidents that happen on the road are due to human error. So if you have driverless cars, that 90% probability of accident goes down to practically zero. No accidents, no insurance. That industry better be prepared for it. The infrastructure requirement changes. You don't need parking structures, street parking, those type of things anymore. Wouldn't that be nice that you don't have a traffic problem in Karachi or Lahore or Islamabad with no cars just randomly parked on the street? Even a 3-lane road is actually only two of them have been covered by the random cars that are just parked over there. I already talked about the voice-activated assistants. All users will actually have a 24/7 virtual assistant with them. Two other technologies that are going to be really changing the face of the earth. One is the blockchain. And as bankers and financial institutions, I would like to know what they think about this. It's not only just the bitcoins or the digital currency part, but the security element of blockchain technology can change how every secure transaction actually happens. Real estate, for instance. It just virtually takes any type of fraud away. Similarly, nanotechnology is something that is going to change how all manufacturing is actually looked at. Because it goes down to the atomic level, and you can actually change and come up with solutions at the DNA level. There are researches going on, and again, like I said, it's within the next 5 to 10 years, where there will be probably cures coming for diseases like cancer, diabetes, and many other issues. Materials, fashion industry. The new materials that are coming using the nanotechnology will change the fashion industry. You know, there are actually bulletproof clothing that is coming out. Not using Kevlar and heavy material, but just normal clothing that actually becomes security clothing. And that's happening today. You can actually buy a bulletproof suit for $200,000. If you're really that scared. I came across this map very recently. It's from Bloomberg, where they've ranked top 50 countries based on their innovation. What caught my eye was this, actually, that if you look at the lower hemisphere, or especially Southeast Asia, Middle East and Africa, it's all blank. There is no innovation going on. On one hand, it is disappointing, discouraging, but on the other hand, there's a lot of opportunity for business leaders, for governments to actually use technology and leapfrog and change the status of these countries from so-called third world countries to first world countries. Remember I said it only took Amazon 20 years to go from nothing to where they are today? So in just 20 years, that's one generation. So I believe if we use technology, we can transform these countries and change the fortunes. Considering that the debt of Pakistan is what's close to about 100 billion, 77, 78 billion foreign, and 100 billion is nothing. If Amazon can create a company worth $750 billion, we can actually transform this country by the use of technology. And I hope that is what each one of us can, if we can take that message back, whether we are at the corporate level, whether we are at the government level, whether we are at the NGO level, technology is the solution to transforming this society and this country. Those of you who are fans of Star Wars, Shami Skywalker said in one of her, when she was talking to one of her colleagues, that you can't stop change any more than you can stop suns from setting. That is so true. Change is happening, and it's happening at a very fast pace. We must work with it, move with it, adopt it, embrace it, because if we don't, we and the companies, all the areas that we work in, will all be forgotten. Let's embrace the technology, accept it, and try and transform this society. I thank you for your time. I wanted to share how AirBlue has used the technology to not only change the aviation industry in Pakistan, but also how we are actually staying relevant But I'd be happy to have that discussion individually or if there are any questions or so. Again, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.